Hare Krishna. Welcome back to our Swadhyaya online reading retreat labs presents Power of SAP, the Gateway to Spirituality Gita daily series. So in this series, we have been reading Gita for a quite long time, and every day we are reading one verse, and we are trying to understand the meaning behind it. And in this series, almost we completed 60 plus videos, and today we are going to start with the next session. That is, go to the mind map. In the last sessions, we have covered till the chapter number 15, verse number 7, and we are going thematically. And in this current theme, whatever we are studying, if you have seen the mind map, so the mind map says currently we are in the theme number 2, that is here. So this is the theme number 2, which we are focusing on. So here, let me little bit minimize it so that you can understand. So the theme number 2 is here, seeing the world through Gita's eyes. That is the current theme we are studying. Every time, once we complete theme by theme, we will be going further. So the first theme was going through life's reversals. So that we have already covered with 29 different articles from with reference from Bhagavad Gita as it is. And now we are going through seeing the world through Gita's eyes, which is a pretty easy lengthy one. And this is in the series we are now currently studying the chapter number 15, right? So it has a 63 total articles. So now we are in one of those articles. So last session, if you remember, we have completed the verse number 15.07. And today we are going to start with 15.10, right? So before we go there, I would recommend to read from Bhagavad Gita as it is always. And if you don't have a hard copy, you can always get it from the nearest ISKCON center. And let's then go ahead with Bhagavad Gita as it is, point 10. This is the Vedas. So I will go to chapter number 15, which is the Yoga of the Supreme Person. So I will go there and we will read the today 15.10. This is the verse for today. Why does the untrustworthy? 15.10. Let me go there. The text, we will be reading only the translation in the proper. And Sloka Recitation Lab will be reciting the Sloka and with their what. So stay tuned for that. So now let's read it from this chapter. Translation. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit its body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of the nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. One word. The word Jnana Chakshu is very significant. Without knowledge, one cannot understand how a living entity leaves his present body, nor what form of body he is going to take in the next life, nor even why he is living in a particular type of body. This requires a great amount of knowledge understand from Bhagavad Gita and single preacher, heard from a bona fide spiritual master. One who is trained to perceive all these things is fortunate. Every living entity is putting his body under certain circumstances. He is living under certain circumstances. And he is enjoying under certain circumstances, under the spell of material nature. As a result, he is suffering different kinds of happiness and distress under the illusion of sense enjoyment. Persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire lose all power to understand the change of body and they stay in a particular birth. They cannot comprehend it. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, can see that spirit is different from the body and changing its body and enjoying different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Therefore, those who are highly developed Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for the conditioned life is very much troublesome. This will come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. So with this, we will be reading from Gita for Daily Enrichment Series Guide. So let's read it from what is there in the store. So we are reading again the Bhagavad Gita 15.10, and today's topic is why trust the untrustworthy. So you make a note while you are reading. And if any questions, you can always post them in the chat, or you can use our comment section. And if you're watching it from YouTube, or in our Wellbeing Academy, if you are in. So in the spiritual Wellbeing Academy, you can also ask questions in the community section, right? So now let's continue to read. The Bhagavad Gita 15.10 warns us against unwitting subscribing to the child's idea of seeing is beloved. This idea, known in philosophical parlance as naive realism, is the primitive belief system in which one imagines the reality is the way that it appears to be. This belief system is based on an unquestioning trust in our senses as conveyors of reality. However, such trust is highly questionable because the senses provide us a link to reality that is ontologically inadequate and operationally unreliable. So this is something to understand. So what is the meaning of C? Ontologically inadequate and operationally unreliable. Ontologically inadequate. Let's see how. The senses being material can never give us access to the non-material dimensions of reality. God, the soul, the spiritual world. Operationally unreliable. The senses subject us to a variety of misperception by making us see what doesn't exist, as in the case of, say, marriages, right? So we can see ontologically inadequate and operationally unreliable. No wonder that the Gita wisdom deplores as misled those who unthinkingly trust their senses and imagine what looks good is actually good. Such people self-righteously sentence themselves to suffering of material existence. Worse still, they deprive themselves of life of meaning and fulfillment that awaits them at the invisible spiritual level in loving service to Krishna. Instead of trusting the untrustworthy senses that are inadequate and unreliable guides to reality, Gita wisdom urges us to trust scriptural reason for gaining a fuller and safer picture of reality. This vision of reality integrates our longing for immortality and love in a magnificently coherent Krishna-centered worldview. And the practice of devotional service transforms this intellectual vision into an experienced reality. Thus, it is that Gita wisdom urges us to seek intelligently beyond what looks good to what is actually good. Our personal, spiritual, and eternal relationship with Krishna. So just to summarize again, we'll read the first translation once again. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand, nor they can understand here the what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the force of nature. But those one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. So with this, we have completed this particular verse, and we'll be writing down the key words, which is words of the day. If we find those relevant parallels, word of the day. Parallels. I think in English you already know. Okay. So now let's move on. So we'll mark as a green. So with this, we'll complete this verse, and in the next session, we'll be continuing with the 15.14. This is the last one of the keywords in this particular theme, right? So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhupada, let me share. Hare Krishna.